great. But there are times that I actually lean over to go turn on the closed caption for a second and go, no, I understood that. So one of my characters was like, so right, say real more as I go real miss it wrong way. And the other guy would go, what he's trying to say is, see, we've got to help Kirby. So the script had the real words for the first guy. It actually had words written for him. We got to help Kirby, he's in danger, and we were running out of time. Go say roll right, say roll, right. See, what he's saying is, and that's what I would do, and I would translate the second guy. But the first guy actually had a script, but not the nonsense gibberish that I would make up. So that was a whole thing with all of the Pokemon stuff, unless it was like a single word. But the conversations, those were tricky. And that takes more skill than you might think of just going, squid, squid. You know? There you go. All right, who else has got something for me? Yeah.
What was the recording like for
Two Perfect Girls? That was actually a tough session. You know, it's funny when and as I said, you know, I've actually been a singer-songwriter longer than I've been a voice actor. People think it's the other way around. They're like, so when did you start doing music? Like, I've been doing music since 8th grade. And when you are doing a character voice, you don't necessarily have the same control to sing. Like, I don't sing like Brock when I sing. And, you know, where you place the voice. Certain characters I can easily sing like. James is very easy to sing like. Anytime I sing like James, I feel like I'm doing somewhere between Tim Curry and David Bowie. You know, I think like James would do an amazing job of Sweet Transvestite, right? That would be awesome, right? That'll be like, you know, when I'm ready to retire, I'll just do that. Do like the best of karaoke with James. But when we're doing Two Perfect Girls, I don't think the music department even checked with me about the key. They just wrote the song the way they wanted it, right? And it might have been the right key for the live singer for the show. But then they were like, okay, Eric, we want you to sing this. Great. And it was high. Brock is high anyway, but it was high. And I don't mean high like high on jelly donuts. High pitch, register. Key was high. And but the other thing was, you have to be bad. That there were times where they were like, no, Brock, you're singing too well as Brock. You can't be that good. Because the character's not a singer. And it's like, okay, so to also then be a bad singer when, you know, hopefully I'm a good singer in real life, when you can sing, to actually sing badly is tricky too. But it was a well-written song. But it also had a bunch of producers. It had the writer, the music director. It had many people involved in the session. And if you ever make the choice in your life to pursue voice acting, one of your first experiences will be this story. So when you do commercials, which I did a lot of in New York, that was kind of my main start with voiceovers, is you'll walk into a session and you'll get a script. You didn't have time to read it ahead of time. You might have auditioned for it a month ago or whatever, but it's changed since then, and it's a script. It might be like a spot for AT&T, whatever it is. Oh, okay, I'm reading this monologue about some new phone that's going to be available, blah, 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 price, name of phone, whatever, very generic. And you walk into a booth, and you look up, and there's a big piece of glass as if you're like in an aquarium, right? You're the fish. And on the other side of the glass is the engineer, maybe the producer, and about 6 other people behind you, some wearing suits, some not. You have no idea who these people are. They have not introduced themselves to you. The producer did, because he got you or she got you from the waiting room and brought you into the booth. Sometimes you walk through the control room. Most of the time you don't. Most of the time you walk through a separate door and you just kind of look up and go, whoa, there's a lot of people there, right? And you've got your microphone, and then you've got the engineer or the director is going to talk to you through a talkback button, right? Talkback button. Okay, Eric, we're going to try one. Stand by 1 second. I just want to get some input from the clients here. Lifts the button up, and you see, and you hear nothing. Okay, yeah, so let's just try one. That's it. That's all you get. Okay, great. So you read it down, and then you look in the room, and you see this. Okay, yeah, we like that one a lot. Can we just try another one? Maybe a little faster. A little faster. Faster would be good. And you're thinking, oh my God, they hate me. They hate everything I've done. They realized they cast the wrong guy. It was the guy ahead of me on the casting tape that they really wanted. They misread. It didn't line up with the... I have no idea. They're going to fire me in about a minute here. I have no idea what I'm going to do. Oh, sure, I can do another one a little faster. Stand by. And you do it. You look out in the booth and you go, great, stand by 1 second. We're just going to talk about this. Right? What you think they're saying is all what's in your head, like I just said. But what they're really saying is, I told you I don't eat beef. I wanted a turkey sandwich, and this is roast beef. Well, that's all they had. I'm sorry that you should have used a different menu. They're arguing over that. They're not arguing over your performance. Right? So when you're doing a vocal session, or like Two Perfect Girls, and there's the committee out there, they're all arguing over everything. Sometimes it's about your performance, sometimes it's not. But all you get, and a good director, because I've been the director, is you take all of these comments, even the ones about the roast beef, and you filter them into the direction for the actor or the performer so that they feel comfortable, willing to try, bend, give you a great performance. If you make them uncomfortable, they're going to crash and burn. Which also is another note, if you're ever thinking about being on the other side of the glass, the director, the producer, or whatever, you must speak to your talent individually. Every person requires a different way to tell them the same thing. Imagine if we were at a dinner party. This would be a very nice dinner party, especially very colorful with all of your wonderful cosplay. And I told a kind of racy, off-color joke that was kind of dirty. Which has happened. Sorry, Mom. I know it's Thanksgiving, but this was funny. And half the table laughed. The other, you could see from the body language who was offended, who might be not ready for that kind of stuff. You would know how you could speak to each person after that moment. So when you meet someone for the first time and you actually engage them in conversation, if you're paying attention instead of just talking at them, if you're paying attention to the way that they're listening and responding to you, you will know how to then request something of them or talk to them about something. It's the same dynamic between actor and director. If I want you to cry during a scene and I see that you might feel a little reserved and protected just as a person, I have to be very careful of how I ask you to be that vulnerable, or you will never feel comfortable to do that for me. I've seen a director ask an actress to cry in a scene, and when they've done it, has actually laughed and said, "Oh man, that was awful. Like, I didn't believe you were really sad there. Can we try one like a little better than that?" And that was the end of that session. She never trusted him after that, and would never be that vulnerable again because he attacked her vulnerability there. Whereas he could have said, "That was great. I just want to go a little bit further with it. Let's talk about, like, is it the sounds that she's making, or is it the breathing that we need to work on? Let me help you through some of this stuff." And just, right? And then there's actors, like my very dear friend Dan Green, who I've directed for a very long time, who's a very, very strong, confident person. He's a very good actor, but he also knows his ability without it being ego. And he also knows that I respect him, even though as my character, I'm always giving him a hard time. We're very, very dear friends. And so I can say to him, "That was great, but can we try this next one with some talent?" And he'll laugh at me and go, "You know what? I can do better than that. Let me do one that's better." Because I know who he is. So if you are going to get into the business of being on the other side of the glass, pay attention. And you could do it as a social experiment to yourself when you're meeting people here. You know when you're meeting someone for the first time whether you can say those jokes that are just going to Or that might be offensive, but also using that in real life anyway. Because I'm not saying you need to figure out ways to get what you want, but if you want to get what you want, realize who you're speaking to. Because everyone requires a different respect and approach. And that's why used car salesmen are so easy to find, because they use the same shtick every time.